Welcome to Yoga Genie's meditation and yoga practice when you only have 15 minutes. So first we'll sit for a 5-minute meditation, and then we'll get into 10 minutes of movement that will kind of get your system going. If you find that you've had to be sitting a long time, or you just find you have a gap in your day and you want to stretch out or kind of get centered, this can be a really nice 15-minute break. So let's get to it. Find a comfortable seat, a cushion, a block, a blanket, anything underneath you that makes you feel comfortable and at ease sitting upright. And once you feel relatively at ease, just settle into your seat, settle into your legs. Feel heaviness back and down into the floor. And then from that anchoring rooted legs and hips, feel the spine growing long and tall, lifting through the crown of the head. You might choose to close the eyes or just have a soft gaze down the tip of your nose, and find a place in the body where you have a little bit of space and room to breathe. So even though you're anchored and lengthening and having these meditations on the physical body, primarily we're concerned with ease of breath. So positioning the body in such a way that the breath has an easy time moving in and out evenly and smoothly. You might hear sounds in the background. You might have sounds at your house. Using your senses to keep you present in this moment, wherever you're seated. What is happening now? In the breath, in the body. If you've lost sense of your spine and your seat, reconnect with the earth and reconnect with your spine, and then settle back into the breath. Noticing if the tongue or the jaw is a little tight, and just release it softly. Release any holding in the belly. Release any lifting in the shoulders or gripping in the neck. See if you can use the inhale and exhale to create space and softening from head to toe. Inhales brighten up, create space. Exhales draw you in and down, softening the body. Noticing when the mind travels and where it tends to go to a planning or a remembering. And just come back to your roots and your seat and legs and long spine. And finding 5 more breaths here. Now we'll do some intentional breath meditating. So staying where you are comfortably seated. If you need to shift your position, go ahead. But we'll just be here for about another minute or so. And I just would like you to pay particular attention to the exhale. So the breath will naturally come in as it needs to. And as you exhale, just really focus on letting every last drop exit. And then pause at the bottom of your exhale. Feel the stillness and the peace and the quiet at the base of that exhale. All the things going on around you. At that end of exhale is where there's a lot of quiet and calm that you can take with you into the holiday season. So let's just be here in quiet now for about 10 more breaths, finding end of exhale, punctuating the end of that exhale with a count of 1 to 10. Wherever you are in your count, find 2 more breaths, exhaling fully, releasing fully. And start to come out of your meditation with some deeper breaths, maybe a sigh. Maybe you want to roll the wrists out. If you're feeling discomfort in your legs or your back, you can get up and kind of stretch out and move the hips. But we'll do some stretches here from our seat. So finding a comfortable seated position. I'm seated in what we call Virasana or Hero's Pose. It's more comfortable in my body. But you could also be in this posture we call Sukhasana, crisscross applesauce, legs crossed like so. And you'll notice I have a prop underneath my seat, and this is primarily to keep my hips above or at the level of my knees, which is most healthy in the pelvis and enables the spine to grow longer and have more support if the hips aren't dropped down and causing us to round and tuck. So coming up onto the sit bones, find your comfortable seat. And we're going to start with the side bend. So take the left fingertips out to your left side, right hand up and overhead. And as you bend over, keep the right hip anchored and just slowly lean over. As that right hip wants to lift, find a little kickstand here and press the hip back down, and then reach from that anchoring hip up and out the fingertips. So take your time to get to the side bend. Notice all the pieces. And once you get there, relax the jaw, relax the neck and head. And then let's do some rolls. So exhaling, roll the rib cage down. Inhaling, roll the rib cage up and back, opening up. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, roll up and back. One more time. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, roll up and back. Great, come back to the middle side bend here, inhaling, and then as you exhale, come all the way up, and then inhale to the other side. Right fingertips come down, left hand starts to reach up. As the left hip lifts, anchor it back down and reach long out of the fingertips away from the anchored hip. And just start the side bend from this side opening. Maybe you can come deeper into this right hand, maybe a bend in the elbow. But find some ease and kind of work your way into the shape rather than just sticking it. Find one more breath here at middle side bend. And then exhale, roll the rib cage down. And inhale, roll the rib cage up and back, opening up. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, roll up and back, opening up. Exhale, roll down, last time. Inhale, roll up and back, opening up. And then exhale back to middle side bend. And then inhale one last time here. And exhale, come up. Straight up in the middle. Kind of give yourself a little bit of a shake here. And then we're going to do some cat-cow spine. So we call it cat-cow because as we round in the back, this could look like an angry Halloween cat if I was on all fours. So the spine is tail tucking, chin rounding and dropping toward the chest. Back of the body spreading open. Pull the shoulder blades wide around you. Really pull the belly in. And then when you inhale, let the tail lift up and back behind you. Let the heart lift up and through the shoulders. So we create a nice arch in the back body, a lift in the tail, a lift in the heart. Maybe you want to lift the chin for a moment, but keeping some space in the neck. Pulling the collarbones wide. And the shoulder blades just melt down the back. One more breath in. And then exhale, round the back, cat back. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the heart, lift the tail, cow back. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. 3 more times, exhaling, moving at your rhythm of breath. If I'm going too fast or too slow, you follow your breath. Exhale. Inhale. And then returning to middle, kind of melting back and melting forward to find middle in your seated position. Great. Okay, let's find just one more move here from seated. This is good to sit on the floor. It's really good for our hips and our spine, so that's why we're doing the work. We develop new spinal muscles in order to hold ourselves upright. We get a little bit of hip opening and hip stretch, knee and ankle stretch. So just take your time when you're seated. If it's feeling uncomfortable, get up and move around as you need to. So the last move we'll do is a twist. Turning to the left, you can bring this left hand behind you if it can reach the floor, or maybe it just wants to rest back behind you. Right hand to the thigh or the knee, and then just start to turn the heart. Turn the heart to the left. So we don't need to crank anything here. We don't want to crank in the pelvis or in the back, but we just create this gentle spiraling from the middle of the body, kind of like a corkscrew, up from the tail, up the center line of the spine. And we might follow it with a little neck twist. But just nice and easy. You might be able to crawl this left hand back and around you a little bit more. Keep the heart lifting, rolling open. 2 more easy breaths. And then turning around back to center with your exhale. Find your spine tall. And then twist to the opposite side. Right hand, if it can come to the floor, comes to the floor. Otherwise, it comes behind the back, palm facing out. Left hand to the knee, and just start to turn the heart. You might be able to get this right arm around a little bit deeper. Keep the heart lifting. Keep the shoulders rotating, but don't crank. Corkscrew up from the center of the body, up and around to the head. So it's a natural revolution as opposed to a forced. Find some ease in the shoulders and the jaw. And then slowly revolve back around to center. Inhaling and exhaling. So we'll just find one more shape, and it'll be from hands and knees. You can find puppy pose or downward facing dog. So setting this cushion aside. From the hands and knees, puppy pose, the hands walk out in front of you. The knees are below the hips, so keep the tail high, and as you drop the heart, keep the hips over the knees.
The temptation is to drop the hips to the heels, but keep the hips up. And slowly work your way into puppy pose. Forehead resting on the floor, back of the heart melting, tail reaching up and back away from the fingertips, actively reaching down and forward. Now if you want to graduate from puppy pose and find downward facing dog, just walk the hands back slightly, tuck the toes, straighten the legs and lift the hips up. Upside down V shape. You can keep these knees as bent as you like. You might pedal out one at a time. You might find different positioning in your hands, spread the fingers, and play around with this pose of downward facing dog. Using the belly to pull you up and back, getting length from the fingertips all the way to the hips, and then anchoring back and down through the heels. A few more breaths here in downward facing dog. Great. And then we'll come down to the knees. Knees come wide, big toes come together. Sit the hips all the way back and down to the heels for child's pose. If this doesn't feel good in the ankles and knees, you can lie on your back and take the same shape from the back of the body. We'll be here for another 5 breaths. And then slowly coming onto the back of the body from your child's pose and landing in Shavasana, corpse pose. So lying flat on the back, feet flopped open, palms up. Find yourself comfortable. And once you hit Shavasana, you can stay here as long as you like. 10 minutes is preferred. 20 is luxury. So I hope you had a nice meditation and a nice little yoga practice. And let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining me at yogagenie.com. Have a nice day. Namaste.